Hello everyone and welcome to the first devlog of our new indie game, Arx Explorer.
Today, we will be going over who we are, how Arx Explorer came to be, the current state of Arx Explorer, and where we are going with it. So let's get started.
Hi, my name is Ben Black. I'm 16 years old and I've been using Unity for 4 years. Some of my interests are football, business, and games. I got into game development through a school project and instantly loved it.
And hello, I am Kai Hallam. Much like Ben, I too am 16 years old, but only recently started with Unity this year, though I do have coding experience in the past. My key interests are gaming, electronically and on tabletop, as well as coding. I managed to get into the wonderful world of coding through a site called Khan Academy as a child and learned many of the foundational pieces of coding.
The idea of Arx Explorer started while walking my dog with Kai. We began thinking about a 3D game that provided a first-person D&D feel which was infinitely generated. After meeting several more times and conceptualizing the idea, eventually we decided we would take a shot at making such a game in Unity.
Our first proper session of working on Arx Explorer was not very glamorous. Because it was in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, we started in a garage, socially distanced. The start was quite rocky, as I was still learning Unity, but after a few sessions like this, I had it figured out, so we started to make some significant progress.
Once our first troubles were ironed out, we started work on some of the more important features of the game, the main one being dungeon generation. I spent many long nights on our procedural generation algorithm, and after around 3 weeks of intermittent work, it was complete. At the same time, Kai was working on the player movement scripts, and when we were done both these things, we had a choice to make.
We needed to decide if we wanted to put the project on hold until we started the school year in our computer studies program, which would allow us to work on the game exclusively for around 5 months. At home, our internet was bad, and we couldn't talk properly in person very often. In addition to this, I was having issues with my computer. After a couple weeks of thinking about it, we decided to put the project on hold until the school year started.
Once the school year started and we began working on Arx Explorer again, we quickly realized that we would need a dedicated art style for the entire game, and, because neither of us had any experience with modeling, we needed to get it from a third-party source. For a day or two, we searched for the perfect set of assets to use in the game. We also needed to decide whether we were going to go with a realistic feel or a more low-poly feel. Eventually, we found an excellent set of low-poly assets made by Cinti Studios for dungeons that were a good price and that we both really liked the art style of. We were ready to go.
Our first prototype of the game came around a month and a half later, when we had combat, enemies, stats, and solid dungeon generation all added. These were some of the core game features that we needed in the project before we could release it. At this point, we stopped forward work on the game and went on a bug fixing quest.
After we were done bug fixing, we were quite happy with how far the game had come in such a short time. We now had a working prototype that had the majority of the core features we wanted to implement. Looking ahead, we decided to split our efforts. I would begin working on character creation, and Kai would start adding a bunch of smaller things, such as some sounds, particle effects, more stats, and the vignette effect when your health is low. This, to say the least, was extraordinarily painful to complete, but after a couple of weeks, we were done.
That brings us to the beginning of my start on the ranged combat system. Ben was still finishing some things with character creation, and I was just sitting around doing nothing. So I decided to begin the creation of the ranged combat in the game. After getting the basics set up, Ben was done the character creation, and we were ready for the next step in the project.
This brings us to the present. Right now I'm working on adding and improving the rooms and caves that you traverse in the game. When I'm done, I will have added around 30 new rooms, improved all of the old ones, added armor and weapons that you can find and equip, implemented traps, and added more items that can spawn.
And I am working on completely rewriting the AI code, so that we can make the AI have more features and to better understand how they work. Prior to the AI rewrite, we were using a pre-made AI system that had a lot of bugs and wasn't that great.
And now to talk of the future of the project. After I'm done with the room revamp, I plan on reworking the combat system. Right now, it's a very simple sword and shield system. Right click to block, left to attack. And I want to make a system with a much higher skill cap that is a lot more engaging for the player. We also want to continue improving the UI of the game, which is one of Arx Explorer's current weak spots. I also want to add another member to the team that can dedicate themselves to constantly making new rooms.
After I am done remaking the AI, I will be finishing ranged combat and then start the long job of adding more sounds, music, and particle effects into the game.
We have come a long way from that first idea on the walk, and we plan to go a lot further as well. Special thanks to Cinti Studios for putting truly amazing assets out for the game dev community to use. We could not have done this without them. To stay updated on the project, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and our Discord, links in the description. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube so you can get notified when our next devlog is out. Until next time.